Welcome into another Red Out podcast. I am your host tonight, Devin, and we will be going through winners and losers. We'll talk about some other sports tonight, and then we'll get into the WKU versus IU, and later on we'll talk about our local favorites. But here we go, guys.
Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
See if we can get the guys on here in a few minutes. But I guess we'll start out talking winners and losers. Saw a nice video earlier today. Here's Matt entering the studio.
Hey, man, can you hear
What's up,
me?
Matt? Hey, bro, what's up?
Oh, you know what it is, man.
I get it how you live, cuz. I hear you.
I already know.
See, that's pre-Matt McCay, though, wasn't it?
What was?
Oh, there was one guy, and I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. I'll have to look him up here in a minute. But we used to have a big wide receiver, big tall guy, and his whole motto was "Get it how you live." I think it was Jamal, but I cannot remember if that's right. It has been way too long.
Yeah.
But anyway,
big receivers named Jamal.
Yeah, he was.
I remember Jamal Forrest, but he was a little smaller.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Jamal.
It sounded like he was 11 years old.
Yeah, no. This guy was. He supposedly took a decongestant right before the banquet, and he started talking out of his head, and he told some story about a hot dog and a car wreck or something, and it was like, what? What are you talking about, man?
Okay.
And we're all like, he's messed up. Something's going on here.
Toasted.
And the coaches and he told the coaches that he had taken an Benadryl or something. I don't even know.
Okay.
Jared, can you hear us? All right. I don't know if I got Jared. Let's see if I got Jared.
Jared, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go, Jared.
You're muted, man. Come on, technology, man.
Sorry, I'm still a boomer to a lot of people.
Yeah. You bum.
You young pups should know how to use this newfangled stuff by now.
Come on, Jared. Dadgummit. 30-year-olds got it figured out.
I know, right?
20-year-olds struggling.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I turned 28 this week, though. I'm getting up there, you guys.
Ooh.
Oh, my gosh.
Man. I remember my 20s.
Yeah, my wife still
40 years ago.
my wife still laughs about it. She's like, yeah, Devin was talking about that Ty Rogers shot, and Jared's like, yeah, he was in middle school. I'm like, oh my God.
I still remember it, though.
Yeah, it was still, dude. It was
that
like,
was my senior year of high school.
Ugh.
We about blew a hole on my grandparents' floor, jumping up and down.
Did you really?
Yeah, man. They thought somebody had fallen or
I don't blame them.
They were like, "Are y'all okay?" Yeah, we're fine.
Dude, that was the craziest thing, though.
Yeah,
craziest thing. That is one of my all-time Western memories, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Beating MTSU the first time when Bobby Rainey ran it in, and we all stormed the field. And then probably Ty Rogers shot, because I was in the old side of the stadium. I remember it like it was yesterday. And we're all sitting there watching the game, and he takes the shot at the end, and we're all sitting there like, and everybody starts jumping. I didn't even see the shot hit, and it was just, I still think about it. It's just, still getting chills thinking about it. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot find this guy's name. It's going to drive me nuts. I'm just going to wake up and text you in the middle of the night, bud, so you just get ready.
Okay.
So anyway, we're talking winners and losers. Yeah, it's not really that important. But I think my perpetual loser is going to be Aaron Rodgers, just because I've just got a grudge against him right now. So we'll just go with it for right now. I'm so upset with my Packers. I am ready for love. I'm not going to lie, Jared. I'm ready for love.
See, there you go. I mean,
Yep.
it couldn't be worse than how Rodgers is doing. Do you think he's doing it intentionally? Is he just tanking?
I do. I really do.
Interesting.
Really?
I think he is tanking just because he's just pouting, and it's like, okay. I see you. I think he just needs to retire.
He
I
can
heard
be in as
somebody
many
talking-
commercials as he wants.
Yes.
Be like Peyton Manning. Which, have you guys seen the simulcast thing that Eli and Peyton Manning have been doing?
No,
Yes.
but I really
Oh
want to
my
see it.
One of those.
God,
I
it's
saw
so
one and
funny.
it was hilarious.
They have to do the Tennessee Ole Miss game in football because that would be so good.
Oh man.
Yes.
Oh, that's such a
I
good
wish they
idea.
would.
That is.
That would
By
be
the way,
good.
it's copyrighted. You can't do that at CBS. We'll try and get Peyton on. Try and get Peyton and Eli to do this.
Oh
That
yeah.
wasn't that bad, man. That's
Thanks,
pretty
buddy.
good
I
for
thought
you.
that was a pretty good impression.
That's pretty good for you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Love you, man.
All right. I love you too. Jared, I'll go with you first. You got any winners and losers?
Yeah, so I mean, winners is going to be all of us in the South Central Kentucky region because fall is here. I am wearing a hoodie and shorts as I say this. It is beautiful. It's like 60 degrees. It's sunny. It's exactly what you want, like football weather to be. Like the game Saturday is going to be so nice. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, you could probably wear like a hoodie or something or whatever, and it's actually going to be comfortable. So I'm glad that summer's basically over. But my losers, it has to be my Dolphins, of course, just because
Yeah.
Tua got hurt, fractured one of his ribs or whatever. And of course, they got shut out by the Bills 35-0. So all of the hope that I had after beating the Patriots is basically shattered, but that's the life of a Dolphins fan at this point. So I'm used
Lord,
to it.
was it 35-0?
Yeah.
That is atrocious.
Honestly, I wouldn't hate if the Dolphins picked up Cam Newton. He's out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like he could be a little better than Jacoby Brissett. I mean, that's just my opinion until at least Tua gets back and is healthy. But I don't know if he's going to be able to stay healthy or not. I'm really starting to worry about him.
Okay, so I did find the guy. He played in 2007 for Western. His name is Jamar Jones. So shout out Jamar Jones. He probably remembers none of that story, so that's fine.
Definitely
Because
not
it's
about
been-
the banquet.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't remember that story just because it's probably been so long, and he was like, ah. But yes, his motto, like walking around, was "Get it how you live." And it was like, what does that even mean? And he's like, you know.
You know what it is.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, yep.
But it
sure,
sounds
yeah.
deep, though. It sounds deep. Like, I feel like if somebody told me that, just like, I don't know, where like to inspire me, I'd be like, you know what? You're right. And then I would think about it and be like, wait a second.
You're so
I think
white.
it's.
I know.
I think it's something that you just go.
As I analyze
Yeah.
the statement, I really realize that it is.
That is a very deep statement there.
Basically.
No, it's all good.
Starting to sound like a Starbucks barista, bud.
I know. I can't help it. I use
It's
what I
seeping
use.
in. It's seeping in. He's got to get it. how
Oh,
he
I mean,
lives.
I talked about all the different coffee shops in Bowling Green in that article I posted today, and that was very
Oh, did you?
self-indulgent. Yeah.
There you go.
So I know you
I
worked
gotta
at
know.
one, right?
I mean, I
In
worked at
Bowling
the
Green?
Starbucks on Scottsville Road for about a year and a half. It was miserable.
Okay. Okay,
It was
yeah, I'm
so
sure.
freaking busy. That was before they had the one over by the Corvette plant open too, so that helped delegate a little bit of their business, and also the one in that Kroger across the street too. But I mean, it doesn't have a drive-through, so nobody goes to it.
Matt, I think that's something we should get into is a franchise. We'll just start our own Starbucks franchise.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they just make money.
Yeah.
People want to drink overpriced coffee, so
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How much is
there's-
average coffee now? Like $6-7?
If you got like a grande, which is the medium, the pumpkin spice latte, it'd probably be about $5 or $6 somewhere in
Good
between there.
Lord.
I know, right? That's like a Big Mac meal.
Yeah.
There's probably more calories in the Big Mac meal than the coffee, but whatever.
And the thing
Uh,
is that TikTok, like someone must have, and Starbucks corporate must have created all these ridiculous drinks and posted the recipes on TikTok, because a lot of those drinks that people get off of TikTok are like $8 to $9.
Oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous for one drink.
Lord.
But can you imagine spending like $9 a day for 52
People do it,
weeks a
man.
year?
God,
People do
Good
it.
gosh.
$9. That's like 300. What is that? 300 a month.
Probably.
Working on it. 30 days a month.
Yeah, 5
270.
days a week times 4. Yeah, you're looking at 45 times 4. That's like 180-ish, right? Am I right there?
Mhm.
$180 a month,
Mm-hmm.
then times 12. Yeah, that was quick math. I don't know if I could do the other. I can't Rain Man that one.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
194.
Yeah. Um, yeah, there was you're talking about TikToks though, and I'm sure everybody's going to love listening to this. I did see a TikTok the other day with this guy going through the drive-thru, and he's like tells off his wife's order or whatever, and the guy tells him, he's like, that'll be $92, and he's like, what? That's how I would feel going through the drive-thru, ordering some mocha choca light,
Latte yaya.
yeah, steamed milk with extra coffee grinds or
I mean,
whatever.
basically. It's just all
Okay.
sugar and coffee, anyways.
See, I don't like
Crazy.
coffee. That's why
I don't either. Yeah.
I don't like
Not
coffee.
a coffee guy at all.
Hot chocolate and sweet tea all day, but not coffee.
You can get both of those at Starbucks, just FYI.
Huh. That sounds pretty good. I may
I don't
save
like either one
my.
of those either.
You don't like.
Well,
you
we
don't
have
like
ice
I
water.
like tea.
We have
Oh,
the
ice
best
water. I
freaking
can do
ice
ice
water.
water.
Yeah, it's triple filtered. You can get a 30-ounce for free. A 30-ounce water at Starbucks is free.
Oh,
Wow, that's what I'll
Hey.
get. I'll walk. My wife already calls me a basic B. I'll just go to Target, go to Starbucks that's in the Target in E-Town, and get me a large ice water filter for free.
Yeah, basically. There's people that do it. They come through the drive-thru and they be like, "Can I get 3 Trenta ice waters?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I guess." I mean, it seems like a loss of profit just handing out those 3 cups and lids, but I mean,
But see, you're being
loopholes,
nice.
man.
Yeah, you're being
Don't-
nice
don't
to the
let it happen.
customer. You're being
yeah.
nice. Maybe next time they'll buy something different.
Maybe they'll buy something next time.
So, Matt, did you? We talked to Jared about this last fall or spring maybe, and Jared said the most annoying thing that he has is when people will order drinks through a phone. So they'll pull up to the drive-thru. The husband or whoever does not want to try and repeat the order, so they just hold the phone up to the speaker.
Oh,
Now, in my
they'll-
mind-
they'll play it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
play
yeah.
the-
No,
just
it'll be
tell
like
them
on a
to
phone
open.
call on speaker, and then they'll just be like, "Hey, place your order," and then they put it closer to the speaker, and you hear it through the phone. I'm just like,
Oh, Lord.
seriously?
I mean, read it off. Like,
So I'm
I
sitting
didn't
here
even know
thinking
you
about
could
it.
play the audio on that.
So no joke though. I think the funniest thing would be is if somebody's like, "Okay, hold on, here's my order," and they hold the phone up to the thing and they go, "Hey, can I get 3 large ice waters?"
Oh my god!
that's like the perfect combo nightmare for old Jared there.
Yeah. See, if it's pub cups, I can live with that. Like, one thing that's you need to know about basically every drive-through place you ever go to is that they have cameras at the speaker. They can see you as soon as you pull up.
Okay.
And if I see someone with a dog in the back seat, like, I'll ask them, like, "Hey, do you want a pub cup today?" Because it doesn't cost anything. It's just a little tiny cup with whipped cream in it. And like, sometimes they're just like, how did you know that?" And I'm just like, "I'll keep my secrets."
Yeah.
Oh,
I know my ways. But part of me, I think this would be really funny to do is to go to like somewhere like Starbucks or Dairy Queen or wherever, get a pup cup, and then hand it to like a fully grown adult.
I'd
Here you
take it.
Good boy. You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy.
Now that would be a little excessive. If someone just gives me a cup with whipped cream in it, I'll just be like, "Okay, I don't care."
That would be funny. So, Matt, winners and losers, buddy.
yeah. Jared mentioning his Dolphins made me think of my Titans winning in overtime, coming back big, but that wasn't actually what I had. I actually was looking at Army football. Man, they what are they, 3-0 now? It looks like they could be 5-0, and then they get Wisconsin and middle of October. So shout out to the Black Knights making the
You
tops.
know,
I don't know.
they're
what they
kind of
were.
making me eat my words in our little prediction article I wrote up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I said that it's probably not as good as their best team they've ever had or whatever.
Oh,
And
dude,
now they're making me eat crow, really.
dude. I mean, man, they're for real. They're good
Yeah,
defensively,
They're a good team.
offense.
Yeah, and as far as with the staff predictions too, right now me and Sam are the only ones that are 2-0. So we'll have to see if we'll be able to survive after the Indiana game, see how that goes.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll lose betting on the tops all day. I don't care. It don't bother me at all. Lost 27 games before betting on the tops, so I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, Matt, do you have any other sports you want to talk about as far as around the hill?
Oh, well, I know. I'm assuming y'all saw. I think we talked about it in the chat or whatever. But basketball scheduled a series home and home with Buffalo.
Mhm.
So that's a really nice little addition to the non-conference for the next. Is it Jared? Is it the next couple years they come here and then we go there?
I think so. I didn't really
Okay.
look at all the details, but I
Okay.
mean, they've been a pretty solid team out of the MAC. I know they've been
Yeah.
to the tournament a couple of times.
Oh,
So,
Lamonte
that'll be-
Bearden came from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a nice little pickup to strengthen the schedule a little bit. And then volleyball lost its first match. I can't remember if that was last week or the week before. I don't know if y'all mentioned it or not.
Yeah.
I think it was the week before.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
They
just
lost
looking
to
at the
Ole Miss.
recent results, and it doesn't show any losses.
Mm-hmm. They lost to Ole Miss. My best man is a big Ole Miss, and so he's giving me a hard time about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then soccer actually lost to Ole Miss too. I thought about saying the winner was Ole Miss Athletics against Western, but
Yeah. Yeah, so my daughter's into the screaming phase. Those of you who know what that is.
oh yeah,
Pray for me.
oh dude,
She does
my
that
daughter's.
squeal.
I kind of encourage it though.
Yeah, I do
like
too.
we'll be sitting down for dinner or whatever, and they'll like start doing something, and I'll scream as loud as I can, and then my wife is like, "Would you shut up?" And I'm like, "Ah!" like except as loud as I can.
Yes. Now, see,
It's good time.
I do that too, but not when we're sitting down eating or anything. But it'll just be like, she'll be like, "Oh my god!" You can just tell I'm going to go get whatever, and I'll be like, "Ah!" And she runs over and starts squealing too, and you're just, yeah. And then it bites me in the butt in moments like this where I don't want her to squeal, but she's just excited and she's going to squeal anyway. So whatever. Other sports to talk about real quick. Looks like women's soccer won against Middle on the 19th. The volleyball beat St. John's on the 18th, and volleyball beat Austin P. They swept both of those on the 17th, and they beat Ohio on the 17th as well. So good job, women's soccer.
Also, one random tidbit.
Go ahead.
With men's basketballs, it's official that Jamarion Sharp is the tallest player that will be active in the Ncaa this year. So that's actually really, really cool.
Freaking 5.
Yeah. Did you see the video that he did?
Yes,
that was really funny.
I saw that on a Louisville sports show. Well, not sports show, but a Louisville news show. They played it, and he was talking about it. All I got to do to dunk is just jump just an inch, and I was like, good God.
He was wearing Nike slides doing that too, not even basketball shoes.
I think it was funny, he walked up to that the little print on the wall at Diddle, and it was like, what is the guy, like 6'11" or something?
Yeah, it was Bassy.
And it was like, how do you measure up? And he's like, I'm a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
All they got to do is teach him to put his arms above his head and just try not to foul. I mean, he can squat a bunch of shots that way.
Have you all ever seen? We're already off the track, so it don't matter.
Screw it.
Have you all seen the video of the 12-year-old that was like 6 foot playing middle school basketball?
I don't know if I saw that. I remember seeing someone that was like 7'7" and like a freshman in high school in one of those like Romanian countries or whatever.
It's probably the same kid, but like this kid's like 12 years old and like over 6 foot tall, playing middle school basketball, and he literally looks like like the scene with Adam Sandler playing dodgeball is what it looked like when in Billy Madison. That's what I thought of when I was watching it because it looks like he's just gonna beat the kids. But yeah, it was sorry, random. But that's what I feel like this is gonna be this year. I guess, and of course, I was going to mention women's soccer beat Marshall 2-1. So, congrats to the other sports. Looks like women's golf's got a thing this week at Furman. Softball's playing on the 24th against Lakeland College. They got a doubleheader there. Women's volleyball plays Marshall at 6 p.m. on the 24th, so in 2 days. Women's soccer is playing UAB on the 24th, so it's going to be a busy night for female athletics. And then, of course, we're going to be playing Indiana on Saturday.
Jared, wasn't UAB the one that I think they won Conference USA, or they were the West Division winner or something like that last year? I can't remember. So
Yeah, that sounds
that'd be
right.
a pretty big game.
You might be right. I'm sorry, women's soccer.
I
don't follow
honestly,
that close.
I don't really know that much about soccer either. At least Western soccer. So
I love Coach
I'm
Nidell.
thinking though.
He's a great coach. He seems like he's done a really good job. I've actually talked with him in person before. I used to do the little kid camps. I used to be the medical person there. Fun fact for you. And which, by the way, it is you're basically a babysitter. You can't pass out medicine to the kids. You can call the parents if the kid gets hurt or anything like that, but nobody ever got hurt. And it's really a boring job. But like what I ended up doing half the time is just going out and playing soccer with the kids, which was a lot of fun. So, and of course the coaches are like, do whatever. It's fine. We don't care. Anyway, Western football is playing Indiana this week at Indiana.
No, it's not.
Are we at the house?
Yeah, we're at the house,
Dude.
boy.
Damn it!
Where you
Seriously?
been?
Sorry, I've got those switched. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I could have swore. Okay, we're at the house. Yeah. Matt is begging people for tickets, but he's got a ticket to the game, so we're good. I was wondering,
friend Jason.
I was wondering how you were going to swing that if you're going to go to try and get to Indiana for free. Dude, I don't know why I got that switched in my head.
Wow.
So anyway,
Bless your heart, Devin.
I know I'm slow. So it looks like, just looking at the prelims here, IU is favored by 9 points. ESPN's little football power index has IU at a 58.3 and Western's a 41.7. That is amazing.
That's close.
I don't know I don't remember what it was last week. I think it was a little higher. But from what I heard of the Cincinnati-Indiana game, Indiana should have won that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched it. Jared, I don't know if you watched it, but I watched it pretty good amount of it. And I think Indiana was up pretty big early, and Cincinnati just poured it on late.
I think Cincinnati's a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was kind of like it was at the beginning of the year, the preseason with Indiana being 17. I really thought that was a paper tiger, and it turned out they were. And now, Iowa just dominated them, 34-6. They beat Idaho, which Idaho, the only thing they know is potatoes.
True.
So, and then they played Cincinnati, and Cincinnati just showed them this is what a top 10 team does. So, of course, Western's resume is not really that great, but at least we've had an extra week to prepare for them.
Mm-hmm. I think we've gotten a lot healthier is a huge thing. Like, I think I was watching the press conference a little bit, and Helton said basically everybody that's important is back.
Mm-hmm.
So is Simon still out then? Because I thought Simon was out for the year.
What he said was the people. I don't know. It really was like
it's coach speak.
Yeah, but it kind of felt like basically everybody that we would want back is back. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, maybe besides Simon, maybe everyone that was hurt during Army.
Well, like you said, he said everyone who's important is back. Maybe he's got is just talking about the replacement for Simon. because I actually watched that presser too because it was a short clip or a little short 10-minute thing. So it was basically coach speak. I hate to be like that, but Coach Helton's a stand-up classy guy, and for him to stand up there, I mean, he's not gonna lay out their game plan. He's not gonna do this or that. He basically just said, basically tip my hat to Indiana. They're a good team. Our guys are ready. Blah blah blah. And it was just like, okay. Sorry, just not impressed. I'm just not impressed with coach speak. I just wish we had a coach that would just go kind of Lane Kiffin style and be like,
yeah, he's definitely very canned. Like he just kind of says, whatever he's supposed to say. Looks like Simon. I looked up injury report. Says he's questionable, so it's not saying he's out for the season. But I mean, he could be. I don't know. But I thought the way Helton was talking, my impression was that Simon was back, but he didn't specifically say, "Hey, Simon's back."
I think it was Jared McDonald of Bowling Green Daily News that said that Simon was out the rest of the year. But I mean, I don't know if that will actually stand or not.
But I mean, even that. Okay, first off, I always hated questionable when I was playing fantasy football.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I hated questionable. That was the worst thing ever.
Just either be in or be out.
Yes. But I mean, and the thing is too, Helton keeps everything so close to the chest. You don't really know. He may dress Simon and Simon not play, just to mess with Indiana. You never know. I'm not saying he'll play, but he may have him on the sidelines in his gear.
Yeah,
may let him go through warm-ups. I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If the medical staff clears him to do that, then that's maybe what they do. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I digress. You're welcome. I thought I'd go back to that. Western points per game, we got 47 points per game for us. Points allowed, 29.5. Yeah, Indiana, this is what's funny to me. They have 28.7 points per game, and they've allowed 28.7 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
So, isn't that like a tie?
Basically,
they've had this awesome game, and they had two sucky ones, where Westerns had an awesome game and a decent loss.
Well, I mean, we talked about this last week, but we really should have beaten Army. Just for the fact that, and this will be the difference, I think, in the Indiana game this weekend. If we show up in the first quarter and just the first half in general and not dig ourselves into a hole, I think that we could very easily take control of this game. And we would have done that if we were able to stop Army in the first half and maybe get one other touchdown.
Really?
So, I mean, and that's one thing with Zappe, too, that's been kind of annoying me is very first drive that he has or something, like one of those early drives, he throws a pick, just kind of like a feeling it out kind of thing, and it gets intercepted. That's taking points off the board. I just really want to see – I really like Whittington. I like what I'm seeing from him at the running back position. I really wish we could get a better run game established. I mean, I know that's something that they're still working on, but I mean, I know it's more of a pass-heavy offense regardless, but if we could have some draw plays and stuff like that to be able to have a little bit of a run threat in between passes, I think that would help us a lot and keep drops alive.
I agree. Yeah. I agree with your assessment there, Jared. And looking at the stats, by the way, how do you say Indiana's quarterback's name?
Penix.
Matt's giggling because he knows where I was going with that. Because I saw that and I was like,
one of my keys to victory is don't play the Penix game. Anyway, I just couldn't help it, man.
That's too good, dude.
I'm too childish, man. I mean, I don't care if people were horrified. Whatever, get over it.
Hey, that's fine. My wife says that men don't grow up; we just get bigger. So.
I don't.
I'm fine with that.
Bigger penises.
So I use quarterback. Penix is 42 of 87 for 448 yards, 4 TDs, no interceptions. He's thrown about half as many passes as Zapp.
And one of the things, too, with him that I learned from Hoosier Huddle when I was doing my interview with them is that he basically hasn't been 100% since Ohio State game last year. that he's been dealing with injuries. He's just been struggling a lot. Like, he hasn't played up to how he normally would be. And
Kinda
yeah. And yeah, basically. And he had a wrist injury last week too, but he'll be able to play, but I don't know if that'll be a hindrance to him. But the thing is are we going to be able to stop the run? I don't know much about IU's running back, but that's still our biggest threat, in my opinion, is not being able to stop the run.
It's really interesting because they haven't really. Number one, he's not a runner. If you look at his
No.
the last few seasons, he's got like way less than 100 yards total rushing. And the running back's getting 75 yards a game, but he's averaging less than 4 yards a carry. So it's not like, and even against Idaho, they only got 180 rushing yards, 179.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it could be a good matchup for us. I don't know.
It looks like Penix is more of a pocket quarterback, but they look run heavy to me. Going off the stats, of course, they've, Cincinnati basically shut them down most of the game, or part of the game anyway, and Iowa did not let them do a thing. So, but my assumption here is that, Westerns. I mean, we're going to be pass heavy. That's going to happen. We just don't need to make the poor judgments. And, Zapp's thrown an interception both games. Mm-hmm. I think it's a win for us if he does not throw, obviously, an interception this week. We've got to keep the intensity going, got to keep the drives alive, and I think if we just stay on Indiana from the opening whistle to the end, we've got them.
Really? So are y'all both calling the upset?
Not so
I'll
fast.
call the upset.
Not so fast.
I'll call the upset. I'll be fine with that.
See,
because I don't think Penix can go hard for 4 hours without seeing a doctor. Hey, you know what? Y'all got 28 more minutes of this, so
it's okay. But no, the reason why I'm not calling it is just for the fact that they're the Big Ten school. They have the depth. They have the size. I mean, they have a pretty good depth on both ends. I mean, defensive too. Like, they have a couple of all Big Ten defensive people. I know they have a linebacker that's really good, and I think it was like a corner or something that was like all Big Ten.
Yeah, your article, I think, said what their whole secondary is all Big Ten.
Essentially, yeah. And that's one thing they said, too, is that it's going to be a major strength-on-strength matchup with our offense going against their really good defense. So, I mean, if they're able to force interceptions, it's going to be a long night for us. But they said that they've had a lot of turnovers, like in the red zone especially. If we're able to force turnovers on offense, like that's what's going to be working in our favor, too. But I'm really interested to see how well we match up against a pretty good defense.
Yeah. It's really, really interesting talking about the matchup because, they haven't been explosive yet. I mean, they were against Idaho. They got 56 points or whatever, 56 to 14.
Yeah.
Right? But last year he threw for 275 yards a game, Mr. Penix there. He threw for almost 300 yards a game. They were really good offense. This year, he's barely – I don't even think he's throwing 150 a game, including against Idaho. He didn't really do that much.
It looks like he's averaging about 180, but go ahead.
Okay, 100. My bad. Maybe I looked at it wrong, but whatever. Anyway, might need to edit my article. But anyway, it's kind of an interesting matchup because can they – if Zappy goes crazy – can they physically keep up, even if Western's defense just allows them to do whatever? Can they physically keep up and score? But also, can Western's defense stop anybody enough to let Zappy have a chance to win the game for them? It's really interesting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Here's one question for both of y'all. It's really close to a sellout on Saturday. It's going to be the blackout, that kind of environment. Like, how do we think? Like, do you think having a big crowd will make a big difference for the Tops? Because this will be the first big sellout crowd we've had probably since the Vanderbilt game, honestly.
I don't think so. because you got to think they've played Cincinnati and Iowa, and their place is a lot bigger than ours. I mean, it
The
sounds
one thing, one of the things that the Hoosier Huddle people said too is that they're pretty nervous about Saturday. Like they think this is going to be a very close game. Like they predicted IU winning, but only by maybe like a touchdown. Yeah. So I mean,
this could be
a lot
this
of the
could be-
people that keep up with Indiana, like a lot of them aren't viewing us as a cupcake. I know that there was an interview with some of the players where they weren't really taking us as seriously, but I mean, it's just that kind of confidence a football player would have. I mean, just like, oh, we can take on anybody kind of thing. But I mean, another thing to think about too is that they said that, I mean, the drive from Bloomington to Bowling Green is maybe like 3 hours, 2.5 hours, somewhere around there. And they have a decent amount of alumni in Louisville. So, I mean, there could be a decent IU contingency in the Houch as well. So, I mean, I don't think that would make much of a difference. But, I mean, they will have fans there. I mean, we had that whole article that we posted today talking about all these different restaurants to check out in Bowling Green because we had people messaging us and be like, hey, what are some things to do in Bowling Green? Where should we eat at? We're just trying to plan stuff. And I think that's really cool that they actually reached out to us to ask those questions, and we helped them with that article. But there's definitely going to be some Hoosiers in the Houch, unfortunately.
Yeah, to answer your question, Jared, I think if it's close, it could make a difference. But like I remember some huge crowds, and we'd come out and lay an egg. Like everybody'd be excited. Oh, look, people actually showed up. And we'd be sitting in the tunnel like, man, there's a crowd. That's great. And it was loud and all that. And then, we're playing a big opponent and they score and, the crowd just disappears.
Well,
I mean, that's just basically.
If it's close, I think it can make a big difference.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that's just Western's fan base in general. Very fair weather. And I mean, and you can basically bet money that all the students in the berm will leave at halftime too, just because that's what they do.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Much. Part of them are closer. I think more will stay. I mean, if it's a close game, maybe it could make a difference.
If we're losing 21-6 at the half or something, that's not going to help.
Right.
No,
and I mean, the crowd can make a difference just by if people get excited, you can sense it. Even if people left or at the end of the game it's not as full or whatever. Western fans can make a difference.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
we've got to have people show up and be loud and rowdy, and
football is just there's not as much passion with football, and you've got to really. I think if we had beat Army, I think people would be losing their minds, or if Indiana was ranked or something.
Yeah, if they were still ranked, I think that'd make a big difference. But
it takes some of the excitement away. But I still,
of course, it is Bowling Green too. We're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a Big Ten school that's coming too, which they did. I forgot that they played us in 2010 in Bowling Green. Do either of you all remember that?
Yeah, we were both probably on the field, right, Devin? That was last year.
2010 or 11, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was 10.
I was there forever, so I don't know.
That was the game that the coaches first noticed me because I was following Bobby on a big run down the sideline. Acting like a crazy person. They saw it on the film, and then they saw me losing my mind or whatever. And I had mono that year, and I didn't miss practice or whatever. So hopefully I didn't spread it to anybody. But anyway, so Coach Sanford
was
where I got my dude Mono Matt running down the sideline after Bobby Rainey, my boy,
brah.
Hey, yeah, that was
the wise words or whatever. It was after the Indiana game, I think.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah, do you remember the crowd for it? Because I knew that. I mean, we were still
probably
decently new to FBS.
It was decent.
At the time.
I mean, I think it was over 20.
Yeah.
I think it was 20 and a half or something, and the crowd was fine, and it was close enough that they, not everybody completely left, but it wasn't outrageous. I think about when a crowd can make a difference. Like Vanderbilt, when it was at home, I think it was pretty close.
Yeah, I went into double overtime and Braun tried. Yeah, I mean, we scored and we could have just kicked a field goal and gone into a third, but Braun was like, all or nothing. I'm going for it, and we just didn't get that 2-point conversion.
That's right. I couldn't remember. Yeah, well, it got crazy then. I mean, that was like a SEC team. Everybody was fired up. and the crowd was awesome. So it
Yeah.
can happen. I remember a couple years ago we played UAB and it got pretty loud in there at the end, and whatever. It just kind of depends, I guess. But if it's close, I think who knows? It could be a little bit of a difference.
So, looking up the stats, K1 Jakes was starting quarterback for us back in 2010.
Taught him everything.
They beat us. They beat us 38-21.
Western Kentucky.
They had 466 yards total. We each had a turnover. They had 27 first downs. And time of possession here does not look right. They had 19 minutes and we had 16 minutes. That's only like a half. That can't be right.
Yeah.
That's basically like two and a half quarters there they're counting. That's not right. Some intern needs to be fired. Yes, so
Somebody
basically
deleted the ball too quick.
Yeah, basically we scored in the first quarter and then they scored several consecutive quarters in a row, and then we scored in the last quarter, the last 2 touchdowns that we got.
Okay.
And I cannot find the capacity during that game. I don't think it was small, but I don't think we were in the 20s. I think we may have been close, but whatever.
I mean, that was when we were still decently due to being FBS and everything too, and we hadn't had all that success that we've had since then.
Yeah,
now it's a lot different. I mean, Indiana, their program is in a lot better shape since we played them in 2015, and our program, obviously, since then too. I mean, winning 2 conference championships and just getting to a high level again. I mean, last year, sucked, but we're getting back a little bit. At least I hope so this year.
I think you got to take last year with a grain of salt.
It's all COVID.
With COVID, yeah, I'm just going to chalk it up to COVID because there's so much going on with that, and I mean there was a lot of fear going around, and you can't not expect these guys to transfer that to the field, So I'll take that with a grain of salt. Last year, I'm not going to get upset about last year, but we need to build towards the future now, and I think Western's got a shot. I think this is a definite game that we can take. Indiana always are a bunch of blowhards, and they always think they're the best team, and I do not care to take that back. So, basketball, football, softball, chess, they think they're the best, but I think Western may have their number this year. So,
wow.
And
I mean, at least they have the guts to actually play us in our own building. That's something Kentucky never even did. So, I mean,
exactly. I'll give them that. Hey, I'll take Zappa tackle day over the Phoenix parade, so it's whatever.
Oh, Lord.
Y'all want to play the Phoenix game before we get off here?
Oh, God, no. See, Jared, we would all scream Phoenix as loud as we could.
Oh, I remember. I was in high school before Devin.
I just didn't know if you youngsters played that or not.
Oh, yeah. It's a timeless classic.
I thought maybe y'all were texting it as loud as you could or something. I don't know.
Nah.
But anyway,
Playing it on your apps.
No, we should play it. I don't know where you're sitting. I don't know where you're sitting for the game, Matt, but we should do it at the game Saturday. See if I can hear you over the crowd noise. I bet I could.
Oh, definitely.
I'll be in the upper deck. Where are you going to be?
I think I'm in 327, somewhere around there.
Okay. Yeah, we probably ought to be able to see each other, I guess.
Yeah.
So
if you stand on the bleachers or something.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
So back in the day,
I'd just be average height then. What are you talking about?
Gotta have a chance.
You have to put Jared on somebody's shoulders like a little kid.
Basically. I could do it.
There we go. So back in the day, you could use your college ID. So I guess that's not a thing anymore?
No,
to do
Devin, they've now got where you can scan it.
Uh-oh.
And you just can't get in anymore like that.
Yeah, we used to just show our IDs. No joke. Like at football games, even after I got out at Western, I could just walk up and show my ID and just go on in.
Yeah, I did that
That's how it was for me, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I don't even know how many IDs I had to buy. I kept losing them things, and finally I was just Like had to put it in my wallet because I just kept losing it. The days. I think IU's going to be a run-heavy team, though. Their running back Carr has got 227 yards so far, 62 attempts. I mean, he's running way more than Penix is passing. Well, Penix has attempted 87 passes, and you got 62 attempts, but Penix has only completed 42 for 448 yards. He's obviously about half. That's about 50% he's throwing there. So what was his injury against Ohio State? Was it a shoulder injury or something, or a knee injury, or
I don't really
know? I don't know either. I'm going to have to look this up.
But
they said he hasn't been.
Said he's had ACL tears before.
Yeah.
So he had issues, and then he's been banged up still. So
yeah, I don't know. It's pretty wild to think about.
The way that they kind of talked, a lot of people probably don't feel 100% about him, and I don't know who their backup is, but they might want to give someone that's fully healthy a shot at some point.
Yeah, didn't they even kind of allude to how long are they going to hold on to Penix?
Basically.
Let it go.
I'm sorry, I can't. I'm like 15 years old,
Let him come off the field.
Hey, yeah. You can't just hold your Penix all day. You gotta let it go. I could just hear our ratings going down. Too many Penix jokes. But let me see if I can find this injury. But I'll start with you, Matt. What's your prediction for Saturday? Do you want to dare say one?
Yeah, no, I'll give it. Honestly, like I broke this down from my keys and stuff. I do see an avenue where Western could win. There's no question that we could. If Zappy goes crazy, I find it hard to believe that Indiana can really keep up with him going absolutely insane, like 500 or 600 yards, a la Brandon Dowdy kind of numbers, or Mike White against Rice or whatever. If we get that kind of production, I think it'd be hard for Penix to keep it up. But if he's a little more human, or they're able to get to him a little bit, I think Western has to be incredible in several areas, or I don't see it. I think we need an incredible performance, like whether it's the defense like completely turning it around and stopping the run, or pick six, or some bunch of sacks or something. I think something like out of the ordinary has to happen for Western to win, and I just don't see enough. We can't run the ball. We can't stop the run. And so if you're going to beat a Power 5, you need to be able to do at least one of those, if not both. And so unfortunately, I've got Western losing 38-24.
Jared, what you got?
I actually haven't put a score to my prediction yet. I guess I'll save it because I'm still thinking about it. But, I like Matt said, there's still so many areas where I feel like we're lacking, specifically with run defense, that I don't feel super confident with us being able to get a win. I feel like the crowd will help a little bit, but if we get in a big hole like we have the past two games where we're struggling in the first quarter a lot, I think that's going to be the big thing. Like that would be one of my keys, is whoever shows up first and is able to sustain everything could have a better shot. And I think the biggest thing is just going to be turnovers. I think whoever wins the turnover differential is whoever wins the game, because if we could get a pick six, if they could fumble and us get some turnovers and be able to get some drives alive and keep them alive and stuff, that's going to be big. But if we're throwing the ball away and having boneheaded mistakes, then that's just going to be the nail in the coffin, basically.
Well, I'm going to give you all the not so fast, my friend, because you want to talk about their Power 5, but they're bottom feeders. Indiana's a bottom feeder. They have not been.
I wouldn't say that.
They were picked to finish 4th in the Big 12 this year.
Big 10.
And they're 7th.
I'm sorry, Big 10. Oh, my gosh. Well,
they're 7th.
Everyone is in the Big 12 now. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. They're 7th in the Big 10. I'm not worried about them. The Rutgers is ahead of them right now. Like, Rutgers. Who cares? Yeah, Rutgers is a better team. But, like,
they're improved.
if you put Indiana versus Northwestern, I would take those eggheads over Indiana. But like Indiana is not. I just Penix. If you're going to put pressure on Penix, you're going to make him think. You're going to have to try and make him move out of the pocket. I think you've got the game because if you can put pressure on him, he can't move as well. It's obvious. He's already 15 yards under in attempts, which, by the way, that's him getting flushed out of the pocket. His negative 15 yards rushing, he's not able to move. You put him in, you put some pressure on him, you've got him. He's going to make bad throws. He has a chance to fumble. There's countless things that can happen. Matt, your phone's ringing. And
it's Wagner, Oklahoma. Keep going.
So anyway,
sorry, I'm at my office.
No, I figured you're fine.
No way, Oklahoma.
Unless they got Baker Mayfield calling, then let him come back here. We'll do.
He's wanting to grad transfer.
He'll be Maker Bayfield, and we'll just put him in there. Get him like a fake mustache and a mullet. But no, like seriously, like I think Western's got a lot better shot than what y'all give them credit for. In Army, pardon my French, is a damn good team, and Western stayed with them. If we can have that entire game that we played in the fourth quarter, we'll beat Indiana. We'll beat Indiana by 2 touchdowns.
21-3 every quarter. Yeah, we'd probably win.
I mean, we'll beat them by at least 2 touchdowns.
But that's the thing. We just can't bury ourselves into a hole in the first half. Like the first half is honestly what will make or break whoever wins. Like if we get into like a more than 2 touchdowns or maybe just even 2 touchdown hole, I feel like that still puts you at a disadvantage. I mean, if we're able to keep it close, like within 3 points or even just 7 at halftime, I really like our chances. But I don't know if we'll be able to do that because it takes this team a little bit to kind of get warmed up and everything. That's one thing I've kind of
beginning of the year. It's beginning of the year. We got a new quarterback in the system, which this is going to be a reoccurring theme with Helton, I've got a feeling. But, I think Western's got a big shot. I mean, I think this is our shot. Army's quarterback was very mobile. He was able to move. Of course, they had their creepy little dump passes they threw every now and then. But Western has the ability we've got the ability to win this game.
We do. I will go ahead and call this now. If we're able to win Saturday, that will probably be like one of the most defining things that we've had in a while, just because the Big Ten win has been the one that's been eluding us so often. We've come up short against them before. We've come up short against Illinois. We've had these opportunities where we should have already had it by now, but I would love to see us get it. But I just don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, Matt, I got a question for you, bud.
All right, bud, go ahead.
Can we do they allow y'all to take signs into the game?
I would think so.
Depends on what it says.
Yes. It's like a Penix joke.
Well, used to. Right. I remember back in the Sunbelt days, like I'm sure, Matt, Paul Detillier, however you say his name.
Yeah.
And he had the little whiteboard. I remember his senior night in basketball against Louisiana Lafayette when they had Alfred Payton and Sean Long and all of them, that really good team. And like we were just perpetually roasting Alfred Payton that entire game, just making fun of his hair and how stupid it was. And like he had his little whiteboard, he just kept writing all of these insults to him. And they were doing the warm ups close to us, and I just see Alfred Payton looking at the sign, stretching, and he's just cracking up before the game. Just like wow. But I mean, like we were giving him the hardest time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can do that with football. I mean, I guess it's worth a shot.
Yes, we need to bring signs. All of our listeners need to take signs to the game if you can, and just heckle Penix all over the place because he needs it.
The thing is I'll be so high up in the nosebleeds you wouldn't be able to see it if you tried.
I'm gonna have to hire somebody to do like that airplane flyover sign.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, there's a Penix on the field. Ah! So I mean.
Lord.
I think Western's
Devin, I do want to clarify. Like, I definitely said that I believe that we could win, and I believe this team is really good. I think we could be really good. I'm just worried about like right now the defense has not shown anything, and so they've got to show something, or Zappy has to just completely lose it, like historically lose it, and just go. 8 touchdowns. And,
Super Saiyan, I got you.
600 yards.
I mean,
8 touchdowns.
I've got on my keys Like I've got that we need to have 200 more yards passing than Indiana, because I think
that is very easily doable.
you would think, but I mean, okay, if he gets, I mean, first of all, it's Power 5 versus Group of 5, and the defense is unproven. But I mean, if he gets 200,
not to cut you off, but you realize Western's averaging 456 yards and Indiana's got 179.
Yeah, and he's probably going to do more than 179. And I think we need more because either magically we're going to stop the run, or there's going to be some open plays, or they're going to have, usually against a Power 5, you're always going to have a big play that busts open. They just outrun you and they throw an easy touchdown.
And here's another thing to think about,
or they break
too.
a tackle or whatever.
Like, here's another thing to think about is that we really don't know what our secondary looks like as far as, like, protecting pass, because we played UT Martin the first game.
Exactly.
And then we played Army, who threw it maybe 7 times the entire game. So this is going to be, like, our first real test of what, like, our secondary will look like, too. Like, this is going to be their time to shine, too. They got to step up and bring it.
I agree. Our secondary has to step up. We've got to get those interceptions. But I think the key to the game is going to be the front 4, 5, 3, whatever, how many we got up there. The front guys, the defensive linemen, and defensive ends are going to be the ones that's going to decide this game. If they can get the pressure, I mean, if we can get some stunts with linebackers or whatever in there to disrupt Penix, then we're going to get, we're going to do well.
I would agree with that. Problem is, we only have 2 sacks so far this year in 2 games. And, of course, we played Army, so when are you going to get a sack? But also, TFLs haven't really been there either. So I'm concerned about getting some pressure up front. Malone has.
We haven't been able to blitz very well at all.
Yeah. So
okay, that's fine.
I want to see some improvement. I think the defense will be a lot like last year. They were pretty awful at first, and then they got a whole lot better. I think that's how it's going to be, but we're going to struggle right now. Defensively.
That's fine.
We'll see.
I respect your opinion. We'll see. The game is Saturday, CBS Sports Network, 9:25. That's Saturday's date, dumbass. It's going to be on at 8 p.m.
I was going to say that's a late kickoff.
No, 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern.
At Western. They're calling for like 74 degrees, but I feel like it's going to be cold as all get out. It is cold today. Here locally, it's 54 degrees for me.
It feels so freaking good. I don't care what any of y'all say. I love this weather.
Jared, that surprises me, man. I thought you would need like 90 or higher,
Nah.
Hey, if I get my hoodie on.
Soaking wet.
No.
On a good day.
If he had a couple Starbucks.
Yeah, a couple venties with pennies in his pockets.
I'm just tired of all these daggum frappuccinos. I'm ready for it to be ice cold outside. People stop ordering these ice drinks.
Dude, you're going to be getting pumpkin spice before you know it.
At least we already have pumpkin spice. We've had it for a month.
Oh my gosh.
They keep making it earlier and earlier and earlier, and I'm just
Ugh.
Because it's so good.
So for our Indiana people who are listening to me run you down, so we're just wanting to talk real quickly about the local restaurants you can try, because everybody knows about the chains, but we're just going to throw out some locals. Jared, do you want to go first?
Yes. Of course, probably the biggest one that I stand is just Tsunami, because, I mean, I love a good bowl of pho or whatever. Like, I know Matt had a different experience with it, but, I mean, it's fine.
Oh, man. Dude, I love it, though, but just be careful. Just a little tip. If you're going to have pho and you are, going to use the jalapenos, don't immediately scratch your eyeballs.
Oh, my gosh.
And then go to the bathroom and be like, man, I got to pee. Do your business. And then now you're burning upstairs and downstairs. Yeah, just a little tip. If something
moral of the story
at the Tsunami, it's probably the jalapenos.
Moral of the story: don't give your Penix some jalapenos.
That's right. There you go, Jared.
Man, that was rough, dude. We didn't know what it was until we got in the car, and then we're like, the jalapenos. It's like we realized it at the same time.
I remember the first time I went there, I accidentally ate one of those things, so you can imagine what that was like.
You just accidentally ate a jalapeno.
I didn't see it. It was under the basil.
Would you just eat off the dry plate? You didn't even put it in the pho?
No, I'll put it in there. Like, it's good. I mean, usually what I do is I'll leave it in there for the spice, but I never eat it. That way I have a little bit of the spiciness, but don't eat the actual pepper.
Oh, man, I just burn it out, dude. I just put all of it in there, and I eat all of it.
That explains a
Oh my
lot.
gosh.
It's
Oh
so
my gosh.
good. But then you leave, and then you got to eat in like 20
Well,
minutes.
do you add the sriracha to yours too?
Yeah. You don't do sriracha at all?
Not really.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I mean, I love
Sriracha's the best.
sriracha, but I don't put it in the pho or whatever.
Yeah, I just go for it. I mean, if you ever need your sinuses cleared,
Oh, 100%.
dude, I mean,
100%.
straight up clear you out.
And your butthole will burn. But yeah.
It'll clear you out both ends.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Jared, you got any more? Or you want to save them for your article?
Well, I mean, I guess besides that, Tsunami. I said Tsunami. Samurai. It's probably my favorite hibachi place in Bowling Green. It's the one
Yep.
over by Southern Lanes. It's so good. Their fried rice is phenomenal. I could eat just an entire meal of that fresh. But I mean, they have some really good hibachi if you're going for that kind of stuff. I mean, I know everybody else is raving about Ichiban, and I've been there before, and it's good. Their sushi is what I think makes them. Like,
Yes.
their hibachi is just kind of I mean, it's whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think
I'll
part
tell
of
you
it's
what,
the
how about that
atmosphere, too.
hibachi buffet? Go check that out. Get
I have
some,
not. Of course, I'm out of the loop. I haven't been to
There's only-
Bowling Green in forever. So
Because of COVID, there's only like 2 buffets in Bowling Green now.
So sad.
So, yeah, I know, right? CC's and hibachi. I'm your buffet expert.
hey, I joked with one of my buddies at work, if my job doesn't work out, then we're going to start a franchise CC's in Radcliffe. So
There you go.
uh,
Childhood, man.
last one, Jared. We'll do 3. What do you got, bud?
I guess I'll give Q Coffee a shout out. I know the people that own it. Like one of the guys, that's the manager. He's a shift supervisor at the Starbucks in Bowling Green. Like, he's a really, really good guy, and I've loved that they've been able to have success with that place. I'm going there tomorrow, having a business meeting thing with the thing I help out with there. So I get to see all of them. So I mean, as far as coffee in Bowling Green goes, it's definitely my favorite. I mean, Spencer's is good too, but just the environment of Q, and also like they're closed on Sundays too. I mean, they're church people, so I respect that a lot.
That's cool.
That is cool. That's
Although
pretty neat.
they would make so much money though if they stayed open Sunday morning with that Hillview crowd right next door coming by before they go over there or after there. But I mean, that's still
It's
a good.
the
do that.
Lord's Day, Jared.
Gosh, Jared.
If you want Q and Chick-fil-A on a Sunday, you're out of luck.
I always ask my wife on Sundays. I'm like, hey, Chick-fil-A sounds pretty good, and she's like,
They don't have much of
Screw
a
you.
drive-through over there either. I mean, you wouldn't have to wait very long.
Is she obsessed with Chick-fil-A too?
no, God, no.
Oh, okay.
I
My
told her-
wife is like mega Chick-fil-A. Like, that's just all she ever wants to eat.
That spicy
Hey.
deluxe is good though.
Hey, I told my wife that the reason she doesn't like it is because it's the Lord's chicken. So, so Matt, what's your 3, bud?
Yeah, well, I had Tsunami, but I'll replace it just to not be redundant. First one, and Devin, I don't know what yours are, but I'll put in Mariah's instead of Tsunami. It's a
Is good.
good, solid,
Mariah's good.
affordable restaurant right there close to the stadium. It's in downtown. It's kind of a cool location looking over a ballpark. Anyway, really good and affordable, and one of the places that a lot of people in know Bowling Green restaurants for. Yeah, good restaurant.
Yes.
And then the next one I had, I think this was something that probably nobody's heard of. And I hadn't until my parents were just randomly like, hey, you want to go to this place? I'm like, is that in Bowling Green? Like, I was like, I don't know what that is. But it's Doug's Motor City Bar and Grill. They're on Cumberland Trace, just off of the interstate exit 22. And right there behind Hardee's and whatever. But it seriously, if you come up to it, I mean, it looks like a dump hole in the wall. I mean, it looks awful. But you go in and it still looks awful. But the food, it kind of reminds me of like the feel of what was that like biker bar over on Russellville Road. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Whatever. Anyway, it's kind of got that feel, like kind of grungy, whatever. But the food, man, the food is really good. Also, if you like booze or whatever, they got booze. But yeah, really good restaurant, and I was kind of blown away. It was really good, and they have good breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever.
Yeah.
See,
And good.
Devin. See, Devin, just like how you hate freaking Harper's because it looks nasty or whatever, the food is still good.
Harper's doesn't look nasty. It's just
It just is nasty.
it's a it's a cliche. It's a Scottsville cliche. Like if you ask somebody locally in the area around Allen County, they'll be like, well, let's go to Harper's. They got good catfish, and it's like, maybe not anymore. I've had their catfish recently, and it's still pretty good.
There was one time I was talking to a customer, and this was in Rivergate too, not even in Bowling Green. Like I could just immediately tell they're from Kentucky, just immediately. And like I was like, "Oh, so you're from Kentucky?" And like, "What part?" And he's like, "Oh, over in Scottsville." I'm like, "Oh, do you go to Harper's much?" And he's like, "Oh, I actually live right next to it." I'm just like, "Of course you do. Why would you not?"
Of course,
It's
yeah.
Scottsville.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Earl G's, man, that's so much better.
Yes, dumplings is good. Dumplings
Yeah.
is good.
No, dumplings is good. I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not that far out of the way for y'all traveling, listening to this. Short 30-minute drive. Anyway, my last one was Devin. You might remember us going to this one, but Cabrera's. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
I was thinking, like, nobody in our article or whatever named anything really like Mexican kind of feel.
I did, but yeah.
What'd you say? I didn't remember you saying anything.
I thought I put El Mazelton.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they're kind of a Bowling Green chain in Portos or Puerto Vallarta or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
I was
Portos
thinking,
is
all
good
right,
too.
Cabrera's is actually like a standalone, like Mexican restaurant, local Bowling Green, whatever. As far as I know, it might be a chain too. I don't know, but anyway, really good, and it's a little more unique than El Maz or Portos. They, I like to say they have donkey meat. It's not really, but they actually have like real looking, like kind of more true Mexican, as well as like having some of those, like the normal American Mexican that you see. But really good Mexican place that we used to go when we were working with football over on, it's Russell Road there.
Yeah.
And it's really close to campus. I mean, you could probably park there and walk to the game. So anyway, really good spot.
Oh yeah. I'll do mine pretty quick. I got Ichiban. I agree with Jared's assessment. The hibachi's decent. Samurai's is a lot better. Samurai was on my list as well. The sushi, as far as that goes, if you go to Ichiban, you got to get the fire roll. By far the best. My wife always gets it with the scallops. Awesome. My next one is El Maz, but El Mazelton is one of those. I feel like if you go in one Mexican restaurant anywhere in the U.S., they're going to have basically the same thing across the board.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's standard.
It's almost. I mean, their names are for things are different, and that's fine. But it's not a chain thing, but it's just what you get. Yeah. It's a Mexican restaurant. If you want tacos, you're going to get tacos. It's authentic Mexican food. I did say Samurai. The kind of the big show, which I think it's a chain, and I think it's more of a local chain, though, is Shogun. Shogun's a little more expensive than Samurai, but it's good food. I've always heard good things about Shogun. But those would be my local favorites. I don't know. Is Shogun local or no?
I didn't really do much research, but I mean,
it's a chain.
Might be.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not like a big chain. It's not like Panda Express or anything, but it might be just like a smaller chain. Even Local Taco, apparently they're a chain too. Like they have locations in Brentwood and freaking Murfreesboro of all places.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard thing.
See that.
That was the hard part to figure out what wasn't a chain.
I mean, I still put it though because I mean it's still the best tacos in Bowling Green as far as I'm concerned.
Of course. But that's all I've got, guys. Check the game out this Saturday, 8 p.m. On CBS Sports Network. Indiana's a 9-point favorite, so cheer for the Tops. I guess I'll be standing alone as far as the Western game's concerned.
Come on.
Hey, I'll stand alone as far as choosing the Tops. I'll go for it. If I got to die on that hill, then so be it. But anyway, watch the game. Check out the Towel Rack. Check out the articles we got going on out there. And as always, guys, go Tops.
Phoenix.
Go Tops.
Go Tops.
You would.
Phoenix.